podcast. He's not even ready for a podcast. He's not even ready for a podcast.
But I am.
But he's not even ready for a podcast.
But I am.
He's not even ready
But
for
I
a
am.
podcast.
Two friends in the movie. 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 With Matt and Sixto. With Sixto and Matt. With Matt and Sixto. With Sixto and Matt. With Matt and Sixto. Matt and Sixto. Matt and Sixto. Two friends in the movie. Two friends in the movie. Two friends.
Hello, everybody.
That's right.
Here we are for another edition of Two Friends in a Movie
That's right.
with Matt and Sixto.
That's right.
And today we got a first big blockbuster in a while.
Yeah. It's been a bit.
It's been a bit. We've done some of those smaller comedies, some Netflix nonsense, but today we're back with a big screen movie that we've seen together
In the big screen.
on the big screen. You don't
Oh.
see it in the big screen.
Well, I was in the big screen.
No, you're on it.
Yeah, no, I'm in it.
You can't be in it.
I was in it.
You
The
can't
movie
be
was
in it.
on it. I was in the movie.
It's so thin. You can't be in it, you lunatic. You're a goddamn lunatic.
Listen,
Well, today we're talking about Furiosa,
Furiosa or Furiosa?
the way I said it.
No, not Furiosa, Furiosa.
Furiosa.
There you
Listen,
Yeah.
does Furiosa's name have anything to do with Fury Road? Or is it just a coincidence?
I think it's a coincidence.
Because I put that together afterwards. I was like, well, that sounds pretty similar. Like, I wonder if those are supposed to sound similar.
I think Mr. Miller found Furiosa to be like, what does that mean? It means furious. It's like, oh,
But
so powerful.
we already did a movie on Fury. Give me another emotion.
No, Fury it is.
All right, so this movie is a prequel to Fury Road.
Right.
How does Fury Road go with the original Mad Max? Is
So-
it just like a 20 years in the future?
So the Mad Max in itself, except for the first one, every Mad Max movie is somebody telling you a story about this guy Max.
Mm-hmm. Who's mad?
Every one of them. So there is not one of them that's kind of like true. They just kind of like the wandering guy that does something.
Fables.
Right. And I don't know if he's supposed to be the same guy or if everybody like he's more of like a what is that called?
Like a figure?
Like a figure, like, you know, like everybody just, like a lot of people did this, but everybody just says, no, it was that guy.
He's represented by one guy. But
Right,
it was
like
a whole,
it's Max. Like,
Yeah.
that's the guy that did it all back when the world
back in the day.
back in the day when the world was shit.
Like when you talk about like Caesar. Like, oh yeah, Caesar conquered all that stuff.
Right,
But he
but-
didn't really do it. Like,
Right, there were a lot of Caesars.
Yeah.
I'm sure not everybody was called Max. But in this one, two things that I find interesting. Off the bat, this one has way more lore than any other, except for the first Mad Max movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it also doesn't have any lore. It's just that they live in this world, and his kid and wife get killed by some motorcycle gang members, and he goes fucking crazy.
He goes crazy.
The end. And in the other ones, the world is shit, but nobody explains why. There's
Yeah.
no gasoline.
It's just, it is what it is.
Right. There is the Thunderdome, but why is there a Thunderdome?
Yeah.
And why is everybody fucked up eating pigs?
I mean, I like pork.
Yeah, but it's just fucked up. Like everything is fucked up and nobody explains it.
It's true.
And even in Fury Road, so like I always like the Mad Max movies because they're just like a little adventure in Max's life. And whatever, is somebody like telling fables about this guy. You know, it's like Jack from the Jack and the
Beanstalk.
Yeah, like it's just a guy named Jack, a guy named Max.
Yeah. And
So-
Jack and Jill.
And Jack and Jill's the same fucking
How
Jack,
can it
right?
be the same Jack doing
It's
all
the
this
same
stuff?
Jack, man. Because that's what I mean. It's just Jack.
It's
Anyway,
just Jack.
This one has they talk about like the world ending to some degree, right?
They do.
They talk about, by the way, big fucking spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie,
That's just spoiler alarm.
spoiler alarm. If you haven't seen the movie, please go watch it and fuck off, and then come back.
Yeah, don't fuck off completely. Just
No, and then
just
come
take
back.
a break. Talk to him nicely. Why are you being so mean to our audience?
I'm sorry. I'm mad.
He's Furiosa. We're gonna call him Furioso. It's Matt and Furioso with your podcast.
And
yeah, sorry.
and they talk about that, and they kind of give you like a line of reality into this, including, and we talk about the end, in a little bit, but including even approaching that aspect of it, of like, some people think this happens, that happened, but this is what actually happened according to Furiosa. So like, it's very interesting that because it's outside, it's not a Mad Max story. It kind of has.
It's the same world, but it has nothing to do with Mad Max.
And it's not told in the same way. It's more linear. It's more like,
it's very linear. So jump from the beginning. You start with Furiosa, played by Anna Taylor-Joy.
Not really though. It's played by
a kid,
Alila Brown.
Alila Brown, who does a fantastic job. I thought she did a great job. Her as a kid and the turmoil she went through. She's part of this secret land that everyone's trying to get to, that they've kept hidden for all these years. Some of the biker gang guys, the underworld.
They guys are like nomads, right?
I guess they're nomads. They just go from place to place. Well, they should, those filthy baggers. They go from port to port. It's my Austin Powers quote of the day. So they're all looking for the secret land that they've kept hidden, and then some of these biker guys find it. They discover Furiosa, and they take her, and the mom goes after them to try to get her daughter back. They capture the mother. They hang her up and torture her to try to get info on where this place is. She never gives it out. And then they pretty much kidnap Furiosa, and hoping that she would tell them, and she doesn't speak either. She won't tell them where it is. But the person who does this is Dr. Dementis, played by Chris Hemsworth.
Dr. Dementis?
Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, I guess it is Dr. Dementis.
I don't think he went to evil medical school, but
but he's pretty fucking evil.
He's a doctor nonetheless. He's the one who hangs up the mother. He's the one who kidnaps young Furiosa and kind of raises her as his daughter almost. It's a weird relationship that they come up, because he protects her, but he's also willing to like string her out if she needs to. Like, as soon as we get the information out of you, we don't need you anymore. You're expendable.
Right.
So Furiosa grows up, which I think they did a great job editing wise, because I was telling you after we saw it, like you almost can't tell when the young actress and Anna Taylor-Joy kind of like change,
morph into one another.
Yeah,
right?
they have a similar look. They do a good job of kind of blending that well. And you see, she's growing up. She's learned all these new skills. She's a survivalist. She's a badass. She knows how to fight. She knows how to use weapons. She knows how to survive on her own. And then when she finds an opportunity to escape Dementis, she does, and she goes out with the other guy, Jack,
right,
who drives the truck intensely every single shot.
Praetorian Jack.
Yeah.
A Praetorian is the guy that drives the truck, because she's like Praetorian Furiosa by the time Fury Road comes.
Yeah. So she's now teamed up with this guy. They're going on different tasks to drive this giant tanker from one place to the next, Gastown to Bullet Land to the Citadel. So like they just bring supplies to each location back and forth. And of course they're attacked, and people want to steal their shit because they got good shit.
They got food and water.
And gasoline? No, they get gasoline from Gastown.
Right, they got food and water, so they exchange food and water to Gastown for gasoline and mother's milk.
Oh, yeah.
Which literally is mother's milk.
You look, it's milk from a mother.
Yeah.
Word to your mother.
For gasoline or for bullets, depending on where they go. They get their feelings.
So they do that, and Dementis never stops chasing down Furiosa. They always seem to find each other.
I don't know. I think it's the other way around. I think she never starts chasing him down because he killed her mom.
Well, she wants revenge. She does go for vengeance. But they just keep finding each other.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie and fighting a bit, and then no one does anything. One gets away. They want, something happens where they don't.
Yeah.
They don't
quite finish
settle the score. So there's a lot of cool car chases and motorcycle chases and explosions and fight scenes and stuff like that throughout the movie. And then we get to the end where they finally face off, Dementis and Furiosa, and unexpectedly, Dementis kills Furiosa and ends the movie.
That's it. End of movie.
Sorry,
Yeah. Sorry for the big spoiler.
And then they say at the end, Fury Road was just a dream that didn't actually happen.
Right.
That's the movie.
Yeah.
No, that's not really the movie. She ends up, she gets the upper hand. She tells him how much of an asshole he's been to her and what happened in her life. And she kills him.
What a great speech by Chris Hemsworth but more like Dr. Dementis, because it's not Chris Hemsworth.
Mm-hmm.
The character has this great speech where he's like, yeah, you're here to kill me because I killed somebody or whatever the fuck. Oh, and he recognizes her as the little girl that I think was grooming to fuck later, I think.
Yeah,
I can't
weird.
quite tell.
Like, first it was like, I'm going to get information from you, and then you're a girl, and there's so little girls around here.
Yeah, and then you're my daughter because I lost my family,
Yeah.
but I don't know that was exactly what he meant.
Yeah.
Anyways, he has this whole speech when he has the gun to his head where he's like, bro, you over here, yeah, you're angry, I get it. She's like, you don't fucking get it. It's like, you don't think I do this because I lost fucking everything? You think you're the only one? And it was such a great speech about perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you over here trying to kill me your whole life, you fucking bent over trying to kill me. We're the fucking same. And that's all we're ever going to be. Exactly the same.
Exactly the same. And neither of them are good guys and neither of them are bad guys. It's it's a different world. It's a way of life. It's killing people. It's survival of the fittest.
Absolutely. And I think that's what changed her a little bit to the Max Fury Road version.
Mm-hmm.
That the fact that he told her, you will be me no matter what you do because you have the gun to my head. And that's exactly what I would do.
And that other movie's already been made.
So, right. So, like, you will be me. And then she was like, oh, no, I can't be you because that other movie was made and I wasn't you. So let me change my way of thinking.
Change your speech, dick. Speaking of Fury Road, so Fury Road, like I told you earlier, had Charlize Theron as Furiosa. And I've been well documented on this podcast.
You have been.
Of liking Anna Taylor-Joy.
You have been.
But on this movie, man, I don't fully buy her.
I think she's good.
She's good. She's definitely good.
The only problem is that you're comparing her because you have to.
Because you have it. Same character.
Right. You're comparing her to Charlize Theron, and she doesn't quite get there.
Yeah, she doesn't have that intimidation factor I feel like she had in Fury Road. Like, you were scared of Charlize Theron in Fury Road.
Charlize Theron, to her credit, was just as badass as Mad Max. And you felt that, like you're saying. Like, you felt like, no, she will fucking kill him if she could. He just got the upper hand because of a situation. It's not that he's better than her. It's that either one of them would have been in the same position had one of them had the upper hand and he just happened to be Mad Max.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And she looked the part more. Like, she's a big lady. Like, she looked the part.
She's buffed and she looked mean and she's like, I'll fuck you up.
I'm not trying to trash her. She did a great job. It's just when you have that, like, if it was always Anna Taylor-Joy, I probably wouldn't have that complaint.
Yeah.
But knowing someone else did it, it's hard to erase that.
The only reason why I would give this a little bit of a pass is because it's supposed to be Furiosa like in her late teenage years, right? Like, it's not necessarily like 30-something-year-old. I've already been through this for 20 years. So I'm already a lot hardened. I'm more mature and I'm more experienced. I will kick your ass. I think it's supposed to be here like I don't know, like a 19, 18-year-old.
Yeah, and you see that. And I think her standing, like those scenes near the end where she's standing with Chris Hemsworth, you see kind of how small she is. Like, because Tim Tyler is a fucking big dude. So you can kind of see. I wonder if that's why he's on his knees pretty much all that scene.
All that scene.
Because if he was standing, like, he'd tower over her.
Yeah. Look, I'm glad that you started talking about Anna Taylor-Joy because I wanted to mention a couple of things.
Notes.
I got notes today.
Wow.
Because this was a lot of movie. Actually, this is not a lot of movie. But it was a long movie.
It's a long movie. It's 2.5 hours.
Yeah. And I'll say this. Anna Taylor-Joy, which you touched on as Furiosa, kind of, it's not necessarily that she's a letdown. This movie was started to be produced in 2018. The idea then was to make Charlize Theron replay the character and de-age her.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know if would have been a better choice. I don't mind that you recast somebody, but I just want to buy that she's still very young and therefore she looks a little bit more unexperienced and she's a lot more emotional. Because Furiosa in Fury Road just does not, she will fucking shoot you in the face and keep doing what she's doing.
Yeah, emotionally, I think she's there. I think it's more physical. Like,
oh, okay.
Charlize Theron's a big lady. Like,
yeah.
She's 6 foot something. Like,
she will fuck you up.
She's fucking buff.
Chiseled,
like,
yeah.
She's a mean lady.
And Anna Taylor-Joy looks like if you breathe too hard, she might.
Yeah, she looks like a princess.
Yeah,
for lack of a better word. Like, she looks like, like
she is the female version of Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, I could go with that.
Yeah, good actor. He just can't play a badass because he weighs 90 pounds.
No, he's not a good actor. He's terrible.
He's a good actor.
But, no, he's terrible. But looks-wise, I get where you're going with that. Like, she's puny. Which, it is what it is. Which worked in some of the scenes, like when she's working... so she's trying to stow away in the middle of the movie underneath this giant tanker before she kind of teams up with Jack. Like, this is right before.
Yeah. Jack Max.
So she's hiding underneath the trailer, and then she has a bike attached there, and the bike comes loose. She's trying to hold the bike, and a pipe breaks. So the other guy, his helper, goes down to fix it. He ends up dying underneath there, and she has to step in and kind of fix the pipes and fix the engine. So, like, that worked because she was tiny, so she can get into those little spots and move around like that. I thought that was cool. And like I said, I don't want to trash her. She did a great job. I just missed some of that intimidation factor.
I also think that this movie, because it's been like probably written like 47 times, because it's been a long time since the last one, and then they had to change actors and all of that. So it probably, I think some of it changed in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I'm sure that a lot of it didn't change. So they doesn't match very well with some parts.
I mean, Charlize Theron versus Chris Hemsworth is much more formidable than Anna Taylor-Joy versus Chris Hemsworth.
Anybody versus Chris Hemsworth is probably going to lose because he's enormous.
He's a big guy.
But you will believe a little bit more than you're right. Anyways, speaking of Chris Hemsworth.
Yes.
Loved his character.
He did a great job.
I think, number one, he's never been more Australian. I think there's some Australian pride in Mad Max, and I think he brought it to the movie. He was like, look, I'm going to be more Australian than any Australian has ever Australian. And I think he does fucking great. I think the tone of his voice and the way that he's talking is very reminiscent of like the second Mad Max and even the first one where everybody talked a little weird. Like they have like that high-pitched tone in their voice, which is weird. But for those movies, it was how everybody talked, which is this, I don't know.
That's weird.
In the first Mad Max, when you got it in America, was dubbed over. Because in America, they felt like nobody would understand the accent. And B, everybody talked to high pitch. This is true. So like, like he really kind of kept that going. And like in when you're watching the movie, if you're watching them in, I guess, chronological order, if you could find that, it kind of makes sense that he kind of falls into that kind of tone of voice kind of thing. But he was just a fun character.
He was a fun character. He was fun. He did silly things.
Super evil.
He was badass when he needed to be badass.
But can I ask you, what would anybody? I mean, he's like a Donald Trump factor, right? Like, who would? This guy's a total fuck up, left and right. All he does is talk really loud and promise shit that he can't deliver, and then he just fucking burns whoever he needs to burn to get what he says he was gonna get. And then everybody's upset with him. What would anybody follow this guy?
He's a good leader. I mean, he gets people with no hope and gives them hope. I mean, isn't that the essence of all these tyrants like
I guess
Trump
so, yeah.
and Hitler and Mussolini and all these guys?
Yeah.
People who are looking for a voice, they go, oh, look at this loud guy. He says the same things I say. I could go with this guy.
But he's loud, right? And Immortan Joe, who in this movie, Immortan Joe is played by Lachi Home, because the guy that played Immortan Joe died. Also, he was like 70, so I don't think he would have played him. The guy that played Immortan Joe was the original bad guy in the original movie. The actor, not the character, but the actor is the original bad guy. So, he was in all of the Mad Max movies. At least he's part of the DNA of Mad Max. But this guy, good job, except in Fury Road, Immortan Joe feels like a bad guy to some degree.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
And in this movie, he feels more I feel like if I have one complaint about this movie, well, I have a couple, but if I have one complaint about a character in this movie, is that this movie kind of made Immortan Joe not look as formidable as he looks in Fury Road.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But maybe it's the same thing. Maybe he's not who he is just yet.
Like, it's that 20 years to go or whatever.
Like
so
he's
still
building.
I don't know. I felt like I would have been more. When I saw the trailers for this, my impression was that Immortan Joe followed Chris Hemsworth, and at a certain point was like, I don't want to do this anymore, and that's why they become enemies. And she goes with him, but that's not what it was. I would have appreciated if he was like a guy coming up to the ranks, so he wouldn't have as much power as he's supposed to have,
and as much of a backstory. You can make it anything you wanted.
Right, and I feel like that was a misstep, but. Or if you're going to show me younger Immortan Joe, show me him learning something. Instead, he's like the same character, but weaker. And I think it takes away from Immortan Joe in Fury Road, in that Immortan Joe just seems like an immovable force. You know what I mean? Like, he just seems sinister and terrible and powerful. And in this, I'm just like, I could take that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the actor. I don't know. But I think it's mostly the lines and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Can we talk about
no.
Praetorian Jack Max?
What about him?
He's essentially Mad Max, right?
I guess so, in like a lesser role.
He looks more like Mad Max. He's wearing Mad Max clothes. He is Mad Max.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess he's just not as I don't know. I didn't really like his character. Most of the time it was just him staring at the camera driving the car.
Yeah, like Mad Max.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
But he's not Mad Max.
It's not Mad Max. And the movie isn't called Mad Jack.
No. I was hoping, another complaint here, out of the few that I have, I was hoping that he would, like, because they kind of fall in love, right?
I guess they have a relationship.
And he's like, look, I'm going to help you get away. She, by the way, she maps how to get to the green place into her arm. The arm that is a robot arm in Fury Road. And I thought he was going to, like, seduce her. And then she was going to be like, this is the way home. And he was going to be like, give me that fucking arm or I'm going to kill you. Like, he was going to betray her. So that's why she doesn't trust any other dude. That's why she doesn't trust Mad Max when she meets him.
I don't think there's much sexual tension or love between anybody. Like, it doesn't seem like that kind of world where relationships like that exist. Like, because you had all those women just in the chamber who were supposed to just have babies. Like, I don't think those type of relationships.
Like, it's more animal again. Like, the thing of romance kind of disappeared.
Yeah, there's no romance. That's a purpose. Like, we need to keep civilization alive, so you need to have a baby.
Right.
I'm a man, you're a woman, I'm going to give you my baby. Like, I don't think there's marriages and love and those type of things. That.
But, I mean, they kind of fall in love, right?
I don't think they fall in love. I think they just have a mutual respect for each other.
I don't know, man. I wish they would have kind of gone that route, because I feel like they set up that character to betray her very well.
I guess I don't. I don't think it needed a love story. I was happy.
No,
there was
that's not
love
what I
story.
mean. But like they kind of give you a love story like they kind of plant the seeds for a love story, and then they don't pay it off.
I didn't really get love story because none of that's around. There's no relationships. That's not like anyone has a significant other in the movie. She was good at what she did. He was good at what he did, so they liked each other because they benefited mutually.
I also didn't buy that he was like. I didn't buy that he was like, I'm gonna help you get ready for wherever you need to go. You go, and then that's what he did, and I was just like, what? Who the fuck? Who is this fucking guy? He's weak.
He's weak.
How would this guy survive this long?
Yeah, and be in that position to be trusted with
Right.
all this merchandise.
Like he's a weak dude. Like yeah, I'm gonna train you to do the best that I can. That like I need a co-pilot that is amazing. I'm gonna make you an amazing co-pilot because you have the natural essence, and then I'll let you go. No one does that. No one does that. Right now, and we're not in a fucking post-apocalyptic world.
It's true. Maybe that's how he gets good people all the time.
I don't know. Speaking of, again, big spoilers.
Woo, 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 woo.
Max shows up in this movie. Max shows up in one of the scenes when she's running away from Dr. Dementis. It's just a shot of Max on a cliff. It's his car.
Oh yeah, his car.
It's
Yeah,
him.
he sees her like
He
collapses.
sees her like collapse, and you're gonna assume that he brought her to safety, or maybe he didn't. But
Maybe it has nothing to do with it.
maybe he's just like, oh, well, another fucking dead person. Let me get the fuck out of here. But it was kind of weird that they put him in it. But I suppose they only did that to mark the timeline, like where in time this is.
Unless they're thinking about bringing back that character as well.
But I mean, they can't, because when he meets her is whatever many years later, right? Is when they meet.
But they could reboot that movie or change it.
That's true, I guess. I don't know. I mean, once again, if it's all tales, what does it matter? They could have said a Praetorian Jack story and make him Mad Max, right? Because in the storytelling format, that was Mad Max.
But now they get two movies.
That's true. I don't know. It's just weird that he was there.
Yeah, it was out of place, but I think it's a setup for something. I just assumed it was a setup for something to come later on in more Mad Max sagas.
I think it was just to set up what timeline this is in.
Maybe.
Like this is right somewhere right in between Mad Max 2 and Fury Road. Not Fury Road and Thunderdome. Like it's somewhere in between there.
Thunderdome.
With fucking Tina Turner. Don't you forget it.
Don't you forget Tina Turner.
The stunts were great in this, as they always are, but they look too cleaned out. So they all look kind of too fake.
A lot of the scenes, I don't want to say a lot of the scenes, but there are many scenes where, especially when they're like the wide driving scenes over the dunes and in the desert,
In the
like
on the Fury Road,
yeah.
or off the Fury Road.
or both. But like some of those wider shots, they all looked fake to me. Like they all looked digitized.
Yeah, and I assume that what happens is they take the shots, they clean them digitally so they look whatever they needed to look like, and it just takes away from the reality of the shot because they just have to CGI it to make it look cleaner. But I don't think they CGI it; they just put like filters of shit on top of it, and
Filters of shit.
it just takes away from it, doesn't it?
It's a good band name.
Filters of shit. Yeah,
Like a hard rock, like heavy metal band.
like a heavy metal or like a Tool kind of band.
We're filters of shit.
I think some of the stunts though, especially in that scene that you talked about before, where she was under the rig, that she was the stowaway, that was fucking bananas.
That was a good scene.
I also find that speaking of those action scenes, that they tell you so much story in this. And even though there's not a lot of story to tell, they really do tell you a lot of fucking story. And they break it up. Like when I started to get bored of the storytelling, I'm like, all right, let's get this fucking... Just as I was getting to that point, they bring you an action scene and you're like, holy shit. And then you kind of reset. And it's like, then they slow it down again.
Yeah, I appreciate that to a point. I felt like there was too many of those scenes near the end there. I was like, come on, I know. And she's going to get away. It's going to be a close call. And then, like, it's just by the end, it got a little monotonous
Monotonous.
to me. All the scenes, like I liked the beginning when they killed the mother, but then no one else major dies the whole movie until the
Yeah.
very end.
Yeah.
I think you needed another checkpoint there, and to put things on its head again. Like, oh shit, this person died. I didn't see that coming.
And that's what I was telling about. Like, if they would have made Jack a romantic connection rather than just a guy that's like, hey, I'm a good guy. If they would have made him kiss or fuck or whatever, and then you say, oh man, she really cares about this dude. And then even if he betrays her or not, if he gets killed, there's more of an emotional
yeah, it's
pull
more
than that.
powerful.
Right, because he gets killed anyways, and that's when she loses her arm because she just fucking rips it off because she's crazy, apparently.
She's furious.
She's Furiosa.
She's very upset with the world at large.
Um,
Yeah, like I said before, like I'm happy there wasn't a love story there.
but then you think that would have made more sense? I mentioned to you, because when we left the movie theater, you mentioned this, and I said, because she has a little sister. I said her little sister should have shown up to try to rescue her.
That would have been better than a love story, because then, like, I get the emotional, because you see the emotional connection with family because she's doing this all because he killed his mother. You don't see it with person to person, as in like building a family.
Right.
So the sister coming, I feel like would have been a little bit more powerful than fake Mad Max doing something.
Yeah, fake Max.
Fake Max. And I don't know, like, there was too clean. Besides the one instance where she loses her arm, like, no one gets hurt. Like, there's all these shots and explosions and crashes, and everyone just gets up and, like, dusts themselves off. I'm like, all right.
Like all the main characters.
yeah,
Like, they have all these side characters to just get shot.
Yeah, like, not including all the guys who just instantly die that you don't have names for. It just seemed too clean a little bit. Like, I would like to see some more bumps and bruises, some cuts. Like, she had the one stab thing in her shoulder, which they just were like, oh yeah, we're just gonna sew it, you're fine. And then like, what's the point of that?
Because they're fucking with you about her losing her arm, so you're always thinking like, this is how she loses her arm. No, it's not. This is how she loses her arm. No, it's not.
So there was that. I don't know. I guess the roller coaster didn't have as much of an up and down as I wanted. Like, it was up and down, but it wasn't as drastic.
Yeah, there wasn't super high peak.
Yeah,
right.
like where there was crazy things happening. It was like, oh, a fight scene. Oh, nothing really happened. Oh, a fight scene. Nothing really happened. Oh, another fight scene. Oh, nothing really happened. Like, that's kind of like where the movie was happening. And until the last one where something actually happens.
But it's too far for you to
It's
care.
too far. Like,
yeah.
after like the fourth or fifth one, I was like, I'm done. Like, if this movie was 30, 40 minutes shorter, I think I would have enjoyed the scenes a little more than I did, and just waiting for. That's kind of what it was, because there wasn't a lot of story. I mean, the story is pretty much vengeance.
Yeah.
After the first 30 minutes, when you find out like her whole story.
Right.
So, like, all it is I'm mad at you. I'm gonna get you. Oh, I didn't get you yet, but I'm still mad, and I'm still gonna get you.
I also like speaking of revenge, the opening scene, like you said, I think one of the best opening scenes in a long time in a movie, where they kidnap Furiosa and the mom comes to get her. Whoever plays her mom, I don't know who. Like, I'm not gonna look for it now, but what a fucking badass. See, she was more of a Furiosa to me than Furiosa.
She was.
Like, she comes out on a horse. This guy's on a motorcycle. This motherfucker comes out on a horse and a rifle. And he's like, no, I'm taking hits. Don't worry about it. I'm going to fucking kill everybody in this motherfucker.
Yeah. And like, she's got a partner. And she's like, no, go home. I got this.
Yeah, I got this. We can both go and the horse is not going to make it. I'm just going to kill everybody. Don't worry about it. And I think that felt so good. And it kind of gives you an idea of why Furiosa is such a fucking badass, because she has it in her blood.
And that was the biggest peaks and valleys of the movie. So I wonder if that's what it started on such a high note that I wanted that to continue.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't. It got slower and slower as the movie went on.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying, the opening scene was great, where he rips up all that stuff happens, and then he hangs up the mother, and the mother's like, they're like, tell me, and she's like, no, just rip me apart. Like,
yeah, right. I'm not saying shit.
Yeah, you can go fuck yourself. Like, what's more badass than that?
Nothing, Matt.
Nothing.
You know what's more badass than that?
What?
Nothing.
It's true. I was about to have something, but And
No.
then in essence, it was nothing.
No, there's that scene where Immortan Joe, like, not Immortan Joe, Dr. Dementis. By the way, who do you think that guy was before this all happened?
A nobody, I guess. He was probably a child when all this happened.
You think so? I don't think so. He lost his kid and his wife, so he must have been like a grown up.
I guess maybe like a young family, I guess. I mean, there's one thing we talked about is that he meets Furiosa as a child, and by the end of the movie, she's at least a late teenager, if not in her 20s.
He's not in his early 20s, right?
And he doesn't look like he aged a day.
No, he got the gray hair and shit. It's only 15 years.
I know, but the 15 years, he looked exactly. He had some gray hair in his beard. That was the only thing that was
His
different.
hair and beard were all gray, fully gray.
By the very end, it was fully gray. But as it went, when he first met her, she wasn't fully gray. And that's the only thing. His hair got gray. Like, he's still this giant, buff, tan guy. Like,
Hey, man, you living in the fucking Fury Road, you got to stay fucking buffed or you're going to die.
Why is he doing all this working out?
Don't worry about it. He's lifting gas. I think that one of the things that I found very cool is how much into the world this doped into, as into showing you what people did as strategy, how things moved and how people got things going, how somebody had gasoline and why is because they had the old distillery and they still rent it. Why the fucking bullet town existed was because they did have a place where they made bullets, and that's where they made that, you know. And then, you know, like Immortan Joe has like all this water and food because he has the only place with that kind of technically water. Also, how awesome is it that Mad Max, they kind of don't tell you where it takes place, I don't think. But like in this one, they literally show you Australia.
Yeah, like I wasn't sure where it took place. Like I didn't even think about where it took place. It's some world that doesn't exist. Like I just thought it was a land that, you know, it could be anything.
Right.
But to see Australia was cool. I'm like, oh, that makes
Yeah, that makes it cool. But now it makes me want to feel like if they were gonna make some offshoots, what happens in America in this world?
I was thinking
what
the
happens
same.
in Europe
Yeah.
in this world, in Asia, like.
Is it all just in Australia or are other countries like it?
I mean, I guess the whole world is fucked up, but like they just show you the Australia because that's where Mad Max is from. But it's a definitive stamp on it. Like, hey, we're in Australia. This is what this looks like.
This is Earth, you know.
Yeah, in this Earth. And I feel like I also appreciated the idea that they show you an ecosystem and how it exists and how volatile it is, in that, you know, like they have the guy that ran Gas City or whatever. Gas Town. What's the Bullet one then? Bullet City?
I think it's Bullet City and the Gas Town.
Okay.
And the Citadel.
So Gas Town, it was really cool because the guy that ran it, Dr. Dementis went in with his gang and just took him. He did the only fucking thing where he was like, yo, paint everybody like the rest of them, and we're going to act like we're attacking them.
Yeah, it's like a Trojan horse sort of idea.
Right, and then these guys were like, oh, that's not, you know, like, that's not them, man. They're not really shooting at these people. And so Dr. Dementis, they were like, yo, it's not working. So he was like, watch this. And he just started fucking shooting everybody. It's like, fucking shoot him for real because we need to get in there. And then they take over. And then he comes back and he's like, yo, this is when they make the deal where he's like, yo, I took over the gas town. If you really want gasoline, you got to fucking deal with me. And I thought that it was so cool that between these three places, they had such a well-balanced ecosystem until Dr. Dementis comes through.
And fucks it all
It
up.
just fucks it all up.
We had a great system going.
What the fuck with this? I can't believe anybody follows him, but it makes all the sense in the world. It's survival of the fittest, and he's the fittest, right? He's huge, he's fucking crazy, and he rips you apart. That's all you need for somebody else to be like, well, that's the guy.
That's who leads in the underworld.
You know what I mean? Like sincerely, that's what Tina Turner was in Beyond the Thunderdome.
Yeah,
she was just like, look, you fuck around, I'll shoot you with an arrow in the face. I don't care. So that people will kind of fall behind her. You know?
That's why I see like the relationships don't really exist. Like people aren't treated as people
No, they just
in this world.
No, they're commodities. It's just what you can do.
Yeah.
Can you do something? All right, you're valuable.
Once you can't do it anymore, we're done with you.
Yeah, bye. Go eat other
like
people.
There's no funerals. There's no mourning.
Go eat other people.
Yeah. There's no grief. It's
people eating. I want to say that
don't say it. Don't do it.
This movie,
I did it.
for as much movie as it is, and I think because it is so much movie, it feels a little empty. Right? Like the story doesn't really.
Yeah, the story's not that great. I mean, it's not a great story. It's
No, but if it would have been shorter, like you can get away with this story if you put the action closer to itself, so that you're not really paying attention, because then the story doesn't matter. You just want to see everybody blow up, and then the little bits of story are like, oh, this is powerful, this is great, because you don't have to wait so long or read so much in between.
Yeah, I think that would have been a great idea. I think, like I said earlier, like it should be 30, 40 minutes less than it was.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, and the story doesn't. There's not enough story for 2.5 hours worth of movie.
No.
The story is a very simple story, and like we said earlier, like you get the brunt of the story in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it's a little bit of time in a long, like they do a lot of time in a short period, and they do little time in a very long period.
Right.
So the movie, it starts out really fast, but slows down quickly and stays at that slow pace, I think, the rest of the movie. And that's because they just didn't have a lot of story
to tell. Yeah.
She's mad at him. He wants the Citadel, and they fight about it.
The end.
And then one of them wins. It's like a 12-round, boxing match.
At the end, when she gets Dr. Dementis, and they do the whole speech scene where he's like, "You are me. You're a monster like me. Like you think I'm so bad, but you over here, you killed everybody around me just to get to me.
Mm-hmm.
How are you any different than I am? And you're gonna shoot me in the head." And that's the end of that. And then he jumps into the Max kind of format where there's a voiceover saying, "This is what's happened."
Mm-hmm.
Some people think that he died a horrible death, that he killed her, that she killed him like he killed her mother,
mm-hmm.
that she made him run around like he killed her love interest, quote unquote, if that's what he is. But instead, I heard from Furiosa herself, and this is where this is different than Mad Max to some degree, in that this is supposed to be true,
mm-hmm.
because whoever's telling you the story is like, she told me herself. Here's another thing. At the very beginning of the movie, when they capture Furiosa, she's getting a peach with her sister.
Mm-hmm.
And her mom, when her mom is about to get captured, she says, "Look, we're not going to make this. Take the motorcycle and go. Here's this peach seed. Plant this in the green place for me,
mm-hmm.
and make life continue going." So because she never makes it back to the green place until Fury Road, before she's leaving, because this movie ends right as Fury Road is like halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
She apparently planted it in his balls,
I guess, in his groin. Yeah,
in his groin. And there is an old man that's supposed to be Dr. Dementis with a tree growing out of his...
attached to the ground.
Right, growing out of his groin. And it's a peach tree.
It's a peach tree.
And
delicious
then
peaches.
Charlize Theron says, "Hey, this is our first fruit." And then she goes, I'm going to assume that's not her. They probably, because they were going to DH her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to assume them using whomever they were using as a model to DH her, right? And then, or I'm under the impression myself that they probably shot some aspects of this when they had it originally were going to happen like in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So they probably shot maybe this scene. I don't know. But it goes to this like Furiosa as played by Charlize Theron, and then it's the scene where she's picking up the girls to get them into the truck to escape.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the actual girls from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So from the Fury Road movie. So I'm under the assumption that they shot this before because they all look young.
Mm-hmm. They might have.
or they might have shot it when they shot Fury Road or whatever. I also think that it was a mistake for the post-credit scene, quote unquote. They show a bunch of scenes from Fury Road, almost like a teaser. Like, hey, next movie, this is what you're gonna see, and I think that was bad. I didn't want to see that.
Oh, I didn't mind it. I didn't hate it. I mean, I didn't love it, but I just thought it was there. So, we talked a lot about this movie.
We have
a system here at the Two Friends and a Movie podcast where we give 0 toes to a terrible, terrible movie like Dune or Dune 2.
No.
And then we give 6 toes
to Dune or Dune 2.
To amazing movies
like Dune or Dune 2.
Like Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Or Dune and Dune 2.
Or Barbie movie.
Or Dune and Dune 2.
Or Oppenheimer.
Or Dune and Dune 2.
Definitely not Dune or Dune 2. So how many toes will you give Furiosa?
So we've given a lot of reasons. I will say, though, I have to say, I think this movie is made for a big screen.
I think so.
Like, it's not like this wouldn't have the same impact in your house.
It's true. I have a pretty good big screen.
I mean, I have a big screen, but it's not the same. It's not like this is a movie. I think, in my opinion, and having seen it in the movies, which wasn't so full. I mean, I couldn't buy any other tickets for the IMAX or anything. This is the only one that I could buy that wasn't filled up, and it was pretty empty.
Yeah, it was a quarter maybe.
Yeah. Which makes me feel a little mad because the movie's not. Hey, this movie's not that bad. It's just we're comparing it to a much better movie, which is Fury Road. I think on its own, if I think about it, it's really not a bad movie.
So how many toes?
So I think out of 6 toes, I'm gonna give this 3.5 toes.
3.5 toes.
It might be 4, but I can't get away from Fury Road. So I mean, without it,
all roads lead to Fury Road.
All roads lead to Fury Road. So without it, I think it might have been a 4 toe, maybe 4.5, but it loses a whole almost full toe because it has something better to compare it to, and it kind of takes away from it. But it's not a bad movie.
It's not a bad movie.
It's not. It's just too much movie for what it is, and
it's true.
Yeah, Matthew.
Yes, Sixto notorious.
Sixtorious notorious. How many toes would you give?
I'm gonna give it 3 toes.
Oh.
I thought it was a good movie.
So it's just average to you?
It's an average movie. Like I gave Sweet Dreams 3 toes as well. And this is completely different.
Yeah.
A completely different 3-toe type of movie.
Okay.
This movie, the action scenes are really good.
Yeah.
The driving scenes, all that stuff is cool. But like we mentioned a few times, it drags on too much. There's too many scenes. There's not enough story to satisfy a 2.5-hour movie. So with all those minuses, I'm going to give it 3. I like Anna Taylor-Joy, even though I don't think this was the best role for her. Chris Hemsworth does an amazing job. I think he's the star of the movie. But what I don't know if I'd see this again. Like if it was on and I was bored, maybe I'd pop it on. But it's not something like, oh, I can't wait for it to come on digital now so I can watch it again.
Right.
Like it was okay.
Like I had that with Fury Road where I was like, I want to see this again.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
The Fury Road is much better than Furiosa.
I think the breakout star from this whole movie was Lila Brown.
I think she did a great job. Young Furiosa.
She was amazing. She looked just like Charlize Theron and like Anna Taylor. Just fucking crazy. She looked amazing.
They did a great job casting that. And she did a fantastic job acting. She was one of the bright spots of the movie. There's not a lot of bad things that I could point about the movie. It's just like maybe if they didn't shoot out of the cannon so fast in the beginning, you wouldn't have noticed. I don't know. But the second 2/3 of the movie are really slow. And for an action-packed movie, I don't know, it makes it difficult.
Yeah. But would you agree this is a movie theater movie?
Yeah, it's definitely a movie theater. Anything that's action based, like this is 85% action.
Yeah.
Like any movie like that, you should see in the theater. Any movie, really, if you could, you should see in a theater.
That's
They're meant
true.
for the theater.
That's true.
But this one in particular, it's probably much better in the movies than it is at home.
Yeah, man. Anyways, look.
So we got a big show coming up
Big show.
that Sixto reminded me about the
That's
other
right.
day that I forgot about. June. We're in June, if you can believe it.
I believe it.
We're in June.
I believe it.
And the half birthday of June is Nicolas Cage.
Who I have the same birthday as, so it's my
Half birthday as well. So to celebrate just Nick Cage
Not
and
me.
nobody else, next
Or
week
my sister who has the same birthday as me.
we're going to do, like we've done in the past with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Chad Bodwick,
Chadwick Boseman.
Bossman. We've done shows dedicated to one person. We're going to dedicate this show to Nick Cage.
That's right.
But I think, and this may change by the time we air it, we're going to do later Nick Cage. Like some of the movies he just came out with that we wanted to say that we kind of fell behind on. So
We got a lot of homework to do. Before we get to
this
that.
isn't, Ghost Rider Nick Cage.
Yeah,
or like
or Racing
Leaving Las
Arizona.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Not that Nick Cage.
No. Crazy ass. I owe a lot of money. In this
Nick
game.
Cage, I don't give a fuck anymore.
I'm just gonna do this shit,
Yeah.
and you're gonna fucking like it.
June Nick Cage show coming up next time. Maybe something else. Maybe nothing. Maybe this is the last time you'll ever hear our voices.
Nah, man, we're coming back.
Maybe.
Keep
them in suspense.
No, we're coming back.
Maybe.
Listen, it's been well documented. This is the best podcast with two friends about a movie.
It's a proven fact.
It is. So cue the music and thank you for joining us. Bam. You don't like that?
That's something. That's something, all right. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Two friends in the movie. 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 With Matt and Sixto. With Sixto and Matt. With Matt and Sixto. With Sixto and Matt. With Matt and Sixto. Matt and Sixto. Matt and Sixto. Two friends in the movie. Two friends in the movie. Two friends in the movie.